from coming
After
too hard.
just emptied his tanks. Okay, let's do this.
Let's start with this. I'm coming out. Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know any of the other words to that song though.
that's good. That's good.
Well, coming out of my cage and doing just fine. It's us, the Press Start crew, missing one key ingredient this time. Love. Also, Cammy's sick, so it's just me and Luke today. Luke, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm singing songs that have the word come in it because I'm 12, and we have a lot of news to talk about today as well.
Yeah, it's been kind of a weird week, to be honest.
Some of this sounds made up that we're going through
That's
when I
where
read
we
through
are.
it.
That's where we are in the industry now.
That's a good
Uh,
sign though, because it means they're doing something that no one is expecting.
expected or wanted.
And you know what? Speaking of something absolutely nobody expected, I know you didn't expect this. Skyrim's getting re-released.
Yeah. No, it's funny because a few years ago, after they did the last like remastered edition on Switch, somebody asked Todd Howard, like, you keep re-releasing the game. At what point are you gonna be like, okay, we're good. We're good. We did it. Let's call it, calm down. We'll remaster like Fallout 3 or something. Let's chill out. He's like, I'm gonna be completely honest with you, as long as people keep buying it, we're gonna keep re-releasing it. Because why wouldn't we? And it's true, like it's free money, especially because they did kind of a pretty transformative remaster for Skyrim. Um that to be honest, just kind of took pieces that existed within mods and then made them official. So they did that. It's frustrating they haven't shown the same treatment to Fallout at all. But you know, they're doing this. So they're saying it's for the 10th anniversary. The anniversary edition will release on PlayStation, PC, and Xbox platforms on November 11th, which is the same day as the anniversary. It was 11/11/11, I believe, was the original launch date. So they're going to do that again, which is kind of fun. Exactly
Oh, I
10
get
years
it.
later.
Yeah, 11/11/11 because it's the 10th anniversary.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, couldn't have waited
Well,
one more year, Todd, to make that shit work.
the 11th. No, the point is the original game launched on
Oh,
November
I
11th.
know. I'm just saying, someone in that marketing department should be shot. Nope.
So you're saying you would have
I don't like
shot.
that.
Uh, anyway, so it's going to include all of the enhancements from the special edition, which you would hope it would. It will also include over quote 500 unique pieces of Creation Club content, including added quests, dungeons, bosses, weapons, spells, and more. Okay.
Okay.
Um, and then owners of the special edition will be able to upgrade to the anniversary edition. Apparently, it's not a free upgrade, it's an actual charged thing. And this is something people were confused about because they announced this at QuakeCon, is my understanding. And people, when it was announced, just assumed it was going to be free. No, they're charging for it. By all accounts and measures. Maybe they'll backtrack on that and change their mind, but it's
Probably
ballsy.
not.
It's
Probably not.
ballsy. I don't know honestly though if you've played Skyrim a lot to the point where you're still playing it 10 years later on PC. I don't know why the hell you would do this instead of just modding it yourself. Like I get if you're going to go back to it on Xbox or something and you just don't have the ability to mod it yourself. Um, for free, I get that, but I don't know.
Or if you got a PS5, you Xbox One, or I guess more so for the PS5, and you're like, yeah, do I really want to put in that old gross PS4 disc? I didn't get the disc drive. How am I? I'll just buy the new one. That sort of thing.
Yeah.
Which is the whole thing like box and all like game $60 for this 10-year
Yeah.
anniversary?
I don't know what the pricing will come out to. We'll see. They also say there's a next gen upgrade on the way.
Next gen, they're 3 gens behind.
Yeah, I don't know. I think probably the extent of it will be like 60 frames running at native 4K, which these machines should be more than capable of doing with a game like Skyrim. It'll be kind of bare minimum. I don't expect like adaptive trigger support or anything that cool. So, any other thoughts? No?
I honestly, my brain's not even functioning anymore. I just can't believe it's been 10 years since Skyrim released, and the only additional Elder Scrolls content that we have is Skyrim again.
Yeah.
It's kind of, I mean, Elder Scrolls Online, but for God's sakes, there's been like, there's so many other Bethesda games I'd like to see remastered or get even just a sprinkle of the Skyrim treatment, because I started playing through Fallout 3 when it got added to Game Pass, and it was great fun. I really enjoyed it. Like the weird story and all aside, I really enjoyed that, and I think that game deserves a remaster and deserves a few upgrades so more people can get into it and enjoy it. And so people can get a goddamn break from Skyrim, because I there's so many fun games out there and they only care about Skyrim. It's honestly making me more angry than it is like excited for Bethesda's new stuff.
Well, it is interesting because I think Skyrim has really broad mass market appeal. So it spans kind of like Red Dead or Grand Theft Auto. People who are not gamers, who wouldn't say that they're a gamer or in the gaming community, they know about this game. And if they play a game, it's something like Skyrim or Grand Theft Auto or Red Dead Redemption 2, something like that that spans the mass market. Um, in this case, I think that's why they're putting so much focus on Skyrim, even still, because it still sells really well. Even though it's the same game as it was 10 years ago, most people are buying it. They put 5 hours in, it's the same thing as before, and then they just quit and move on to a different game. But it's just like now it's a habit that you buy Skyrim once every 2 years. It's just part of what you do. Um, I know people on Twitter at least were upset as usual. I mean, it's Twitter, but
Yeah.
people on Twitter were upset that they weren't going and giving the same treatment to Fallout 3, for instance. Um, I understand that. I would like I honestly, I think a remaster of Fallout 3 probably wouldn't be transformative enough to make it workable in the modern day. I think probably it needs more of a remake just to, for instance, remove the constant loading screens between areas. Um, there are ways with like the new SSDs where you could just instantly transfer inside and it would be fine, but that will take more than just a quick re-release with a higher resolution and better textures. Like you'll actually have to do a bit more work because the game is built to load things in a certain way and load them out in a certain way. And with the new hardware, you have to train it and set it up properly so that it can do that quickly in one fluid motion instead of staggered like it used to require. So I think it's frustrating that we aren't seeing the same treatment given to Fallout because there's a lot of Fallout fans that are frustrated that the only thing they really have nowadays to play through is Fallout 76, which they keep pushing and pushing and pushing. They're adding new content to that. But
I hate
I
it.
mean,
I can't get
I think
into it.
for me, it's the lag. I've tried playing it. There's just too much lag to the point where you press the fire button, and by the time the bullet leaves the gun, it's probably, to be honest, like 10 to 30 milliseconds. It's too much. It's just too much. And especially if you play other shooters, whether that's something like Valorant or Warzone or Fortnite or Battlefield, whatever it may be, any of these big AAA shooters, they are way tighter in terms of networking, in terms of quality of the actual mechanic. It's just it's lackluster, and they still have Fallout First or Fallout One, whatever it is. That's $100 a year. They still have that. That never went away. That's what they're
Yeah.
trying to get you to use if you're a fan of the franchise. Hopefully, Microsoft can slap them upside the head and get them to cut that out now that they've got what they want, now that they were bought. But still, damn
Well,
it.
yeah, but Bethesda Softworks has one more year before Starfield. If Starfield blows, I think that their credibility is about done. Just as like I think they'll be like a afterthought, kind of like it's actually now that I say it out loud, I want to be like, oh, they're gonna be an afterthought, like those Crystal Dynamic guys, like way back in the PS1. But so many goddamn game companies have just kept going. Like Naughty Dog started with Crash Bandicoot, and you think they would die off after the platforming era ended, and now they're making like serious crazy. Like maybe Bethesda will like pivot the Bethesda Softworks to like some other type of games instead of these big open world ones if they keep fucking it up, or
I
if
mean, maybe.
they
I
don't
I
want to do
think
them. I don't even know.
I think they will transition. I think the biggest issue was that Bethesda was marketed as an RPG, like linear or a role playing narrative developer. That's never really what they did. Like Fallout 3 is not really a solid, robust RPG. It's a game where you're playing a story following another guy. It's not a story you're creating that's centered around you and your narrative choices. Story is pretty uninteresting. Um, and what makes the game stand out isn't the story or the writing and the characters, it's the world and how interesting and engaging it is to explore that world. And that's what Bethesda really sets themselves apart at doing. What they're really good at doing is world building and creating worlds that are fantastically fun and rewarding to explore. With that being said, I think part of the issue was that they've tried to make both groups happy. They've tried to satisfy the narrative RPG guys, they've tried to satisfy the open world exploration players, and then like the sandbox builders that like the Fallout, base building stuff. They've tried to do all of this at once, and you just can't make everybody happy. All I want to see in Starfield is a little more focus, a little more like we're doing this, we're going to do this the best way it's ever been done, and that's what we're doing. We're going to use our open world talent at designing worlds to create multiple planets you can travel between, you can explore all of them. It's a high quality fantastic experience, and then we're going to move on, and we'll have a story there, but that's not the priority. It's a sandbox that you can explore, and if they can do that well, it'll be great, and I think it'll be fun. I think the new franchise, the fact it's a new IP, will help it a lot because it's not burdened by, well, look what the last Fallout did. That was way better. It's not burdened by that. It's completely free for them to decide what they want to do. And it reminds me, I watched a video, the making of Fallout 3. You can find it on YouTube. I think it's like an hour long, but in it, Pete Hines, who at the time was like head of marketing for Bethesda Game Studios, he wasn't even that high up in the company yet. He said, one day I really hope that people look at Bethesda and we are just as well known for Fallout as we are Elder Scrolls, which is a really bizarre thing to say now since it's our first outing, but that's what we're going to try to do. And now people think of Bethesda and it's Skyrim and Fallout. That's what they are. So they've achieved that goal. And hopefully Starfield turns into the same thing where it's like, oh, who's making the Elder Scrolls 6? Oh, it's the guys that did Starfield. Oh, awesome. I love that. Hopefully they can set that standard. It sets expectations for their next games. And I agree, they'll probably transition. I think they're probably trying to set themselves up to push into a lot more online elements with co-op and exploring worlds together,
Which is fine
which is fine.
if
It's
they
not
don't
inherently a bad
fuck it
thing.
up like they did
It's
with this other one.
yeah, it's not inherently a bad thing. I know they've said that Starfield is a single player adventure game, but that doesn't mean that it won't have online elements or components, akin to Death Stranding
I
or
was
some
just
of those
gonna
other
say I
systems.
would love a Death Stranding system for something like
Hmm.
Starfield. That'd be great.
I think it'd be cool, especially you're exploring all these worlds. You can find, bases that were built by other players that help you explore the world. So like say it's desolate, you need to recharge your shields or your O2 tanks, whatever. So you're going, you find a base that another character built in the world, and you can raid it if it's awesome. You can road it down if you hate it. You can destroy it, whatever you want. But it becomes a collaborative effort. I think that's one thing that's really cool about Death Stranding is that everybody kind of starts working together in a really cool way. It's why it's very important to play through a game like Death Stranding with online on. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's all speculation at this point. But yeah, point is they're bringing Skyrim back. They're doing that again.
Thank God for
In
that.
yeah, in other news, speaking of Naughty Dog, some people did some asset digging and some file crawling, and basically found assets within the game's code, The Last of Us Part Two's code, that would indicate there are assets for a very large multiplayer map that could work for something like a battle royale. And it has a quote unquote listen mode device in it. They also found another asset labeled collar and multiple models for different types of backpacks and armor. All of that to say, it really seems as though Naughty Dog could be revving up for their very own battle royale that is hyper realistic, grounded, and uses the gameplay mechanics that The Last of Us Part 2 utilized. And I'm actually really down for this. Um, like, really down. I think it could be so cool. It's a stealth based, realistic battle royale that isn't filled with guns and stuff. Realistically, it would probably be more useful to use bow and arrows and things instead of guns to achieve your goal in the battle royale, because noise in The Last of Us Part 2 is a huge deal, especially if they're adding in the infected onto the map, which I'm sure they would. For you to use your gun to quickly take out somebody doesn't just alert the other players, it alerts all of the infected around you. So you're now running from the infected and the other players. So I think it could be really interesting. I love the gameplay in The Last of Us Part 2. I think it's so good. And their level designers are great. So I think whatever open world battle rail map that they have, it could be really awesome. And I'm optimistic. I think this could be really cool.
I like this. However, I don't think it's going to be a traditional battle royale, like in any sense. Like trying to think about it, like could you like a battle royale setting? Let's say you drop 100 people into the world of The Last of Us 2. Maybe you're in teams of 2, teams of 3, maybe you're solo or whatever. You have all these zombies running around, and the point is like, oh, do you all have to survive? Last one standing, gets airlifted out or gets rescued or something like that. That like in the world of The Last of Us makes no fucking sense at all. Like I think Naughty Dog might shoot a little bit more for something like that kind of has like a story to it. I know they're narrative and all that, and you can draw whatever. Like even if it's a battle royale, to have story elements. But I kind of like the idea of like, let's say there's 50 people, and you're all starting off like in these random spots around the map, and you have to get to one certain point first. And so it's like it's a race, and you can kill people as you go along. You have to kill infected as you go along. You can work together. You can kill people to get the edge, but you're only at like only a certain number of people are allowed in. And then once you're in, then you kind of fight it out. I don't even know how you go about it. I don't see this being like a traditional battle royale setting where it's just everyone dropped in and then going to town on a
I
map.
think probably what it would be is like, I don't know how big the map is that they data mined, but say it's a decent sized map and maybe you have 50 people going into the match. Let's just say like teams of 4 to be simple. So you got like 12-ish teams going in. You could set it so if the map is an octagon or a trentagon, whatever it would be, like you can set it so everybody kind of starts at the outskirts of the map. Um, I don't know if you would set it so that people like parachute in. I think you could do that if you just want to like,
But why the
eh.
fuck would you pair it? It's just so stupid. This has the
Well,
potential to be really great, but also incredibly stupid.
well, it stops being like super grounded, um, which is important in the Naughty Dog's narrative games, narrative modes. But it's a lot less important in a battle royale because like why would 50 people all be centered in? I mean, what it could be realistically is that you spawn in randomly. It might honestly be just smaller servers, smaller groups. So instead of like 50 people in, it's like 20 people and it's 5 teams of 4. That could work. And then you spawn at a random hub in the map. So you don't even get your choice. It just randomly you start somewhere in the map, and slowly as the circle closes, it's the infected closing in. The closer you are to the edges, the more infected there are, which means that typical rotations and pinwheeling that you do in battle royales, that becomes very, very risky because normally you do that so that the right side of you, as you're pinwheeling up counterclockwise, the right side you don't have to worry about because it's the gas or the fire, whatever. Don't have to worry about it, so you can pinwheel up and hook into somebody that's rotating as well. With this, it's like if the gas could reach out and grab you occasionally, or if there was a little bit of fall off. So the closer you are to the gas, you take less damage than if you were in the full gas, but you still take some damage. It could be really interesting, and I think it would do a better job of actually pushing all the players in. There will be some players that just hop to the center and just kind of sit and wait, which I think is the thing that would be difficult to fix. But there's also things that they can do to force campers out of position that a lot of other battle royales can't do, such as having infected swarm somebody that camps, and then you can just say, well, they smelled you or something, and it makes sense. Like, yeah, okay, I got to get
There's a
out. You
new
got to keep
type of
moving.
zombie called "Stop Being an Asshole" zombies.
Yeah, exactly. uh, it's just John Cena just running around the map.
It's like, yeah, like a horrible, like poorly rigged John Cena runs up and picks you up and shakes you and tells you not to camp anymore. And people are
I,
like, no, no, this makes sense for the world of The Last of Us. Actually, when you think about it, John
yeah,
Cena,
really.
this poorly rigged JPEG of John Cena that runs into a 3D landscape and shakes your character.
It's
That's
like a PN.
actually,
It's a PNG, but one of those PNGs that still has the checkerboarded
yeah.
transparency back, so it's like it wasn't actually a
Here he
PNG.
is. He's going across the screen now. There's that exact John Cena we were talking
Yeah, yeah.
about.
I think that could be interesting. I just think, for one, people are starved for a different battle royale. Um, Warzone has frustrated a lot of people. I think Apex is good, but a lot of people, if they loved Apex the most out of all of their options, they would have been playing Apex all along. But most people bailed on Apex to go play Warzone. Warzone got boring, stale, and overrun with cheaters. So people came back to Apex, but now people are like, well, yeah, but I went to that other game because I liked it more. I think people are just looking for something new and different. I think this could be it. I'm not saying that this would take on a Warzone or Apex, um, but I think it could be really, really interesting. I also think it would be nice to have a game where you pretty much don't have to worry about cheaters because realistically you could make this an exclusive to PlayStation 5, um, which is what I honestly would prefer that they do. And I know people are going to be like, "Well, but I don't have a PS5 yet." I know, but we're also
We're
talking about a
getting
game that
there.
hasn't even been announced.
And
So
may or may not even exist. Like,
it might
this
not even
stuff they
exist.
found is like a collar, a backpack,
Yeah,
art,
a few different types of backpacks.
every feasible ground, trees and rocks, every feasible thing that could be in the game. Like,
Yeah.
to each their own. You know,
I think what a lot of people were thinking when they started hyping this up was that they found a big map, and that we know they're working on a multiplayer mode, so that's not a surprise. It's not a scandal. They're working on some sort of multiplayer modes. But we found a really big map, which they haven't had before. All like the Last of Us original, the factions mode, smaller maps. Um, they have different types of armor, which is something that would be, as far as I can tell, new. Um, and something that you see in battle royales when they're trying to encourage you to loot to get better armor and equipment. So that's expected, better types of backpacks and armor so you can carry more and be better protected. And it's just interesting. I don't know what this practically means. I don't know if we will see um, this play out. It could be that they are working on a battle royale and it's not going to work out. So they'll cancel it and then they'll just release a kind of standard multiplayer mode. But we'll just have to wait and see. We really don't know. But
Naughty Dog sucks. That's going to be in the
it's funny.
title of the video now.
In the Valhalla critique, I have like a quick little joke where I'm saying typically in these sequels we see the sequel improve on things from the previous game. Games like Fallout, The Elder Scrolls, Grand Theft Auto, or The Last of Us Part 2. And then I turn to the camera all cheekily and I go, "It's funny because it's controversial." In the video, one of the first comments after it went live this morning was somebody saying it's actually funny because it's not true. And the fact that you think it's controversial is a major issue. I was like,
What?
you
I
don't
can't say the word I want to say to describe this person because I'll have to
I'm
do
just like, you
extra
don't even
editing.
realize you just proved me right.
Yeah.
Like you just
What a
proved the point.
moron. What a
Yeah,
dink.
it's
My
so funny to me.
goodness.
But yeah, anyway, if you want to see that video, go check out the main
Yeah,
channel.
plug that. Also, if you want to see something that you won't believe is real, Google Dinotopia on IMDb. You won't be disappointed. It exists and I haven't seen it in 12 years, but I just found it again this morning.
And it's fantastic.
It's fantastic. It's called Dinotopia.
Need I
That
say
sounds
more?
fake. And speaking of fake, Epic and Sony. This isn't fake though.
This is real.
This
All
is
of this has
real.
been found by way of actual court documents. Jacob, what have we encountered?
So about a year back, Apple and Epic were going at it because Epic is not too keen on Apple. Apple, I'm guessing, was just sitting back, didn't really mind anyone else. But Epic has been, ever since they released Fortnite on the App Store, felt like they were getting screwed, so started a lawsuit. Now reports are coming out that Epic offered Sony about $200 million to put 4 to 6 first-party games on PC. That's a big deal, for sure, for people that don't have a PS4 or a PS5 to get some of them games on PC. It'd be awesome. We've had a few games already come to PC, like Horizon Zero Dawn, Days Gone. Horizon Zero Dawn, for some reason that sounds wrong. I think it's because it's gone and then dawn.
Yeah.
Am I broke? Am I a dumb baby person
No,
for getting distracted by that?
A dumb baby person.
A dumb baby person. Death Stranding 2 also came to PC. All of those, I own all 3 of those, mind you, and I did not own a PS4. I heard good things about them from PS4 players and decided to give them a try first chance I got. That being said, using me as Exhibit A, bringing games to PC from PS4 after they've been exclusive for about a year ensures, for the most part, if they're really good games like these ones, that they're going to sell. No problem. It's a good investment because people like me are going to buy them, which is why I'm not really concerned about any of this exclusivity stuff that Xbox or Sony's doing, because at the end of the day, people want to play good games. And that's all it's really about. That being said, this is a big-time power move by Epic, who just today, literally today, the day we're recording this, released one game I really enjoy, Yooka-Laylee, for free. Downloaded it. Epic Games making crazy strides. I think it's still free when this video gets uploaded, so jump on that, you bastards. They're doing some great stuff for people who like playing video games, and it seems like they're really doubling down on that with this attempted offer to Sony. So we'll see if this pans out.
It's interesting. I mean, people are like, wow, $200 million, that's so much money. Well, for Sony, 4 to 6 games will very likely gross more than $200 million. So Epic was presumably offering 200 million as an exclusivity deal. If they were to release Horizon Zero Dawn, Death Stranding, all those games, they could only launch on Epic. And Sony, I think more than anything, the last generation, the entire philosophy was we have exclusives and they are only available on PS4. Doesn't matter if you want them elsewhere, you can only get them here. Sorry, not sorry. Deal with it. And after the end of the PS4 generation, of course, they booted out Sean Layden, who was the former head of PlayStation, and they replaced him with this guy, Tim. What's his name?
Not Tim Heidecker.
No, it's something
Definitely
bland.
not Tim Heidecker.
It's what's his name?
Timmy Turner.
Jim Ryan. Jim Ryan. I was like, it's two first names. So they replaced him with Jim Ryan, and Jim Ryan's entire philosophy thus far has been Sony has great games. We're going to sell great consoles, and we're going to provide the game to wherever you want it. We're going to put it on PlayStation Now. You can stream it remote on your PC if you want, or you can get some of these previous PS4 exclusives on PC. I think it's a refreshing change of pace. Lots of Sony ponies are frustrated because they've spent the last like 6 years, 7 years caught up in the idea that one of the reasons PlayStation is good is because it's so exclusive, and that shouldn't be the way it's approached. There are benefits to having exclusives, especially technologically speaking, but that doesn't mean that you can't have great games while also sharing them with other platforms. Um, as for this offer, I mean, I think Sony probably did the math and we're just like, we can probably make more money if we release on Epic and Steam. So we're going to do that. And so they turned down the offer for $200 million as far as we can tell. And it probably reaffirmed to Sony's executives that it was worth bringing the games to PC in the first place, because Epic was looking for any reason to stand out against Steam. So they probably approached PlayStation, said, listen, we've got all this research and data that we've collected on gamers and their interest in playing PS4 games on PC. Hear us out. We'll give you money. They made the case that gamers want PlayStation games on PC and will pay a lot of money for them. Sony probably said, thank you for doing all of our research for us and proving there's interest. We're not going to take you up on your offer, but we're going to now do this because you've proved it to us. So I think that's more likely what happened. And we'll see like how the cookie continues to crumble. They've said that they are planning on bringing a lot of other games to PC. I think a game like Bloodborne has such insane hype around it that probably they know that if they put it on PC, it would sell fantastically well.
Oh yeah.
Which makes me think that probably the only reason it hasn't come out yet is that there potentially is a licensing issue, which is something we do see fairly often, especially because Hidetaka Miyazaki has a firm hold on his IP for the most part, to the point where From Software gets to make most of the decisions when it comes to major things. Just because a game came out on PS4 and was an exclusive to PS4 doesn't mean that Sony somehow owns all of the rights to it, which is a common misconception. It's just very possible Miyazaki is like, yeah, I like Skyrim, but I feel like we struck gold and I don't need to keep digging, so we're going to leave it like it is. And he's working on other projects like Elden Ring.
Woo.
And yeah. Woo.
Can't
so
wait.
I think there's a reason we haven't seen it yet. It seems like such a slam dunk for them to bring Bloodborne to PC that the fact they haven't just seems to me like they probably aren't. But because it wouldn't even take a good port.
Yeah,
wouldn't even take a good port.
I would play that shit on an N64 controller. I don't care.
Yeah. Anyway, so that happened. The lawsuit is still kind of hilarious. Apple is just spending all the money they can on all these lawyers because the central dispute is that Fortnite launched on the App Store on iPhone, and purchases for V-Bucks, so all of their microtransactions had to go through the App Store, which means Apple gets a 30% cut of it every single time. Epic was like, that's just not fair. We don't like that. That's ridiculous. And especially they're saying if you want it on our huge platform, you have to do that. You don't have a choice. So Epic said, screw you. Come and get us. So they created their own launcher. So you would download the like Fortnite launcher from the App Store, and then the launcher would download a separate app, which was the actual game, and then your V-Bucks could be purchased through the shell that they had developed, so they wouldn't have to pay Apple. Very smart. Apple doesn't play with that though. Apple's like, hell no, we're not doing this, because then every game, every single little mobile game is going to do that. We're not doing that. So they shut it down, kicked it off the App Store, removed it from iPhone, caused lots of trouble and headaches, and then Epic sued them, and that's where all of this is coming from. And I actually think it probably would be a very good thing if Epic won. I know it's easy and fun to hate on Epic, but I think it's pretty clear Apple is in the wrong here. It is screwy that if you want to put a game on the App Store, Apple will just get 30% of everything you ever sell. And that's just screwy. Like,
Especially
it's
when
just
there's
stupid.
especially when there's really smart people that can find a way around it and they're openly stifling those people who
Yeah.
have to get the launcher from the App Store. So they're following the rules still.
Yeah. Well, and I think that was Epic's point, and that's their point in the lawsuit, is like, hey, you said apps downloaded from the App Store can't like if there's microtransaction purchases made within those apps that are downloaded from the App Store, they have to go through the App Store's payment systems, which gives Apple a 30% cut. This app that people are buying through wasn't downloaded from the App Store. It was downloaded from our app, which is from the App Store, but it's completely separate. And they've even done completely individualized downloads. They wanted to do it so you could just go to like Fortnite.com. I don't even know if that's a thing, but probably,
Let's
and
see if it is.
download the iOS version of the app straight from there. But Apple has already locked down their ecosystem to the point where you can't do that. If you download an app trying to get it on your iPhone that you download from the internet direct to your phone, it won't let you launch it. Whereas on Android, you can do that just fine and not have any issues at all. And they claim it's about security. And to be honest, that's probably true. A lot of old people and people who don't really know what they're doing probably would download a lot more viruses and things if they were given complete and utter control. But the point is, Apple knows what they're doing. Everybody knows what Apple is trying to do. They're trying to force you to use their stuff so they get a 30% cut on the billions with a B of dollars that are being traded constantly through these apps. So I hope Epic wins. I think it'll be good for gaming in general if they won, but we're just gonna have to wait and see.
Oh, plus, fuck old people. Apple. Fuck them. God. Oh, no, hold on. I'm
God.
getting some echo. Hold on a
Echo?
moment. Yeah, I'm getting a faint echo.
Hmm.
How odd. Let's hope that didn't go on for too long. If it did, whoopsie. Anyways, last piece of news for the day. Hope I didn't just make Luke quake with fear. That's
Oh,
right, Quake. You think Skyrim's been re-released? Quake's 25th anniversary is here. And let me tell you something. Original Quake got enhanced for PlayStation, Xbox, Switch, and PC. It's out now. Does anyone really play Quake anymore?
well, now they are going
Good.
to for like 25 minutes.
For as
I
long
don't
as they can
know.
handle. I really enjoy Quake, I should say. It holds a special place in my heart, but not for long, which is why that resonated with me so much, because I'll be into it for a little bit and then just kind of fall out. So while this is great for fans of Quake, and maybe it'll like build it up to the point where it is really hyped up. There's a lot of people playing it. Maybe I can get back into it again. More people can get pulled into it. It's a recipe for success. Everything they've done here. They've added expansions, split screen up to 4 players, graphical improvements with the lighting, depth of field, lots of great stuff across the board. So this is nothing but good news. And Bethesda's in the news twice with nothing new, yet somehow new. But I'm happy about one of them and like kind of peeved about the other. It's just weird. It's odd.
Yeah, I mean Bethesda and ZeniMax, they just have so many like historically significant franchises at their disposal that they can do this type of thing. And it's okay, it's fun. They'll make a little bit of money off of it, I'm sure not much. But it's something, and it keeps their name in the news because their next huge release that's going to get most people hyped up the most is Starfield, and then hopefully soon after that we'll hear stuff from their other studios, whether it's Arcane,
Deathloop
or
babies. Woo!
Deathloop. Yeah, we'll see that. Or whatever that zombie vampire, the vampire game. Redfall.
Are you drunk?
I actually thought that looked pretty good.
It looks awesome. It's Arcane too. Everything good is Arcane. I'm telling you. I've been saying it since this channel started. Everything that's ever been created that's good can be traced back in some way to those lovely people at Arcane Studios.
Yeah, no, we'll see. I mean, I think, and then we'll also see Machine Games, I think it is, that are doing the Indiana Jones game.
Which I'm also. Oh my god, you're wearing a Minions shirt.
I am.
I might actually turn off your camera. I can't believe we did. It's been 42 minutes and you've worn a Minions shirt the entire time.
I have. You have an elf in the background.
Yeah, Alf is cute and charming. You have a minion.
He's an alcoholic smoker alien.
He says it's drink. What have you seen Alf before? He eats cats. He's a goofy little romp. God, the minions. The minions.
Jacob.
I doubt anyone in the audience noticed. People listening to it, they got it in the cup holder of their car while they drive for 40 hours in a truck, and they just heard, "Oh my God, Luke's been in a Minion shirt this whole time," and the whole video is now falling apart.
I'm so sorry.
Dust in the wind.
Well, you know what? You're right. We should call it. We should just.
I am excited for the new Indiana Jones game.
This is why we need Cammy here.
Cammy would never wear a Minions shirt. Let me tell you that much.
She would shut it down. She'd be like, "Hell no."
A lot of people don't know this about Cammy, but she actually like screams at Luke for his fashion choices. She's really into fashion and t-shirts specifically.
I think it's a British thing.
They love their tees. That means the drink and the shirt. See what I did there?
I do like that. That's good.
All right. Well, everyone, go have a good time rubbing one off or rubbing one in. Have yourselves a nice day. Good night and good luck. What other cliches are there? If you're there and I'm here, then that means
in case I won't be seeing you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Name the movie. I love you guys very, very much. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.
A Minion shirt?